You're listening to Standing in Fire! Welcome, everybody. I think I needed some reverb on that. Like, I don't think I had enough reverb to carry my voice that high.
I think
Like
you
the old
missed a
Trump
session
song.
of the testosterone replacement therapy last week is what I think.
Yeah, it could be. Well, welcome everybody to Standing in Fire. I'm Boom. I'm joined by Tess and Militus tonight. We've got
Hello.
Tess. You seem perky and happy. You've got
She's
less schoolwork.
she's always so happy.
Look at that.
She's always
just
so
like,
happy.
What's going on?
Yeah.
What's happening? You're just like a bundle
I
of
don't
joy.
have any more school left.
There you go.
Except for the day after the this was yesterday, Tuesday. I get an email that one of my teachers got a new job just then, so I get to
I'm
I
still
get to do
hiring,
summer
too.
hiring. It's super fun. Yeah.
I'm still doing summer hiring too, so I totally get it. And we got tired Militus there. Militus, the RV repairman.
Yeah.
If you need something done, Militus is
Don't
at
call me.
your call.
No, because Militus is stupid and he puts bolts in and he cross threads them and causes his life to suck for a couple days. Yeah, don't be me.
Well, it happens. We're gonna talk about some Pantheon. We're gonna have some fun tonight. And it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a good, awesome, exciting adventure of something. That's all I can say.
We'll have a good time.
I just don't.
We'll
know.
have a
I
great
don't know what to
time.
expect.
There's not
This show
much
could
to
be the
talk
best
about, but
show.
we're
This show could be not the best show. I
Well,
don't
what
know.
are you talking about? It's gonna be the best show.
It could be,
I
but
like
it
how
might not be.
he's kind of playing it down, Tess. He's always like, "This is gonna be the greatest show," and tonight he's like, "Could
yeah.
be great, could be shit."
Let's
be.
know.
I
Let's
just
figure
don't
out
know.
our expectations.
It
here.
is National Learn About Composting Day today.
How
so
appropriate.
if our show needs to be composted later, it'll be fine.
Or if our show is
It's
shit.
a distinct possibility.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. Actually, I don't know what to expect. But you know what? I think what we should do. We're just gonna we're gonna do everything's all wibbly wobbly. We're gonna do this all different a little bit tonight. So we're gonna roll into this.
Excuse me,
right
when
off
is
the bat.
Alpha gonna take place?
This game
when
never
is it
coming
well,
out.
it's- I said,
Remember
when
that
is it-
episode next?
Hey, you better not make a game or I'm telling you, if I have to play the game and actually see it, you put us in Pantheon Patient.
We're just going right into Pantheon Patient right
I'm
away.
confused. Are you confused, Tess? I'm confused. But okay.
Okay. We're
Roll
gonna
it.
go
I put it right
into
there. So if you look at the show notes, guys, look, I'm just going in order, right? But I decided we'd do Pantheon Patient first because, I don't know, it just felt like the thing to do. It just felt right. Tess, what have you been doing while you've been waiting for Pantheon news, information, anything? Like, what's been keeping you busy?
I got to have some fun and play some video games, you guys.
Fantastic.
Well, you suck. I wish I
Yeah.
could do that.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
so
Right
fun.
on.
I played
No,
some more
happy for you.
Diablo 3.
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Diablo.
I got up
She's a
to
big fan.
Pantheon.
Pantheon
Paragon.
100? Yeah.
I got up to Pantheon 100. Paragon 100 ish. And so I
You
played a
think
little of that.
Pantheon
And guess what I
is
played
gonna
this
have Paragon
morning?
levels?
Well, we'll see. I wouldn't be mad at like something like that.
Yeah, like
We've
you
had
hit
that
cap.
conversation
You hit
before.
cap. Have we?
Yeah. Yeah, we've
Mm.
had those conversations, but I mean, like not like hardcore or anything.
Apparently, I'm
yeah,
just crazy.
And then I also this morning, because today's my anniversary.
Happy anniversary,
Thank
Tess.
you.
How many
Thank you.
years? Do tell us.
15.
Wow.
She got
You're
married.
You're so young. When
Well,
did
she
you get
got
married? Like, what,
14.
12?
14.
And
Yeah.
and we dated for 5 years before that. So,
So you
Oh,
dated at
goodness.
7.
Yeah.
She
we
dated at
started-
7. They were friends.
You started dating in
It was,
first grade.
First grade friends. Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty fantastic.
But while I was waiting, he was we went to the museum today for our anniversary. We went to go see the
Cool.
Leonardo da Vinci exhibit at the museum. It was super fun. But while I was waiting for him to come back from like getting gas and all that stuff, I played a couple HOTS matches.
What?
No way. You did not.
What
you
is
played,
hot?
You played
I
Heroes
did.
of the Storm?
What is that?
What?
I did.
That's crazy.
That game is still running?
Yeah. That's amazing.
I'm sorry.
How did
So
how
there
did
you
you
go.
feel going back into that? Like having not done it for so long. Like
I
how
had-
did that make you feel?
Well, I played like 4 matches, but I only played them like with AI teammates.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh, okay.
just so that I could remember how to
Remember.
play. And I'm glad I did that too, because people have been swearing at me up and down, like as I'm just standing there because I forgot how to move.
Yeah.
You know? So
Well, that's good.
Yes,
you had fun
yes.
with that. Awesome. Fantastic. How about you, Militus? What'd you do this week to be
Well,
patient?
last week, my very good friend Tess
Mm-hmm.
ooh,
did buy me a video game, which is very kind of her. She's so sweet. She bought me Divinity Original Sin 2, I
Mhm.
believe. And I played through the tutorial
Right.
of
That's
it.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
And yeah. I mean, it's a really cool. It's a very different game than I'm accustomed to
Yeah.
playing, which I really appreciate, Tess, because it's not cool to play the same old kind of game. And so I was a little confused at first by the control scheme. I was like zooming out and I was kind of playing it the wrong way. But I've been playing it a couple of days this week. I like it a lot. Out of the tutorial into my first starter zone area. Tess has assured me she's going to play with me at some point. I know I've not been playing a lot, so it's probably my fault more than hers. So I've played a bit of that. And it's been fun, been different. I may have
Mm-hmm.
resubscribed to World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I figured as
Oh,
much. I figured as
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
but
always get the itch. It always.
but
comes
here's
back.
the deal. Like I subscribed, and then I don't know. Like I logged in
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I ran dailies
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and I ran a dungeon.
Okay.
And I was trying to get my muscle memory back
Get it
with my
kind of
class.
going. Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah, get it going and stuff. There's not very many people on the guild. I know Art's with us tonight in our chat, but
Mhm.
not a lot of people in the guild. Yeah, I'm kind of in a holding pattern for 8.2.
Mm-hmm.
The new patch. I think it's gonna come out in the middle of June. So I'm just kind of trying to get ahead of that, fart around a little bit with that, play with some friends. I know you guys are gonna come back, but that's pretty much been my week. Yep.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Hey, there's
though.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's
No,
nothing wrong
not
with
too-
that,
not
and
too
you're
bad.
you're getting back into it, right? You're gonna have a little more
Yeah.
time. It's not like
Although
you're
I
in your
might,
RV
like-
or anything because you keep renting it out. So
Oh, good. Yeah, people keep breaking. But one thing I might do though, I've been thinking about this. I was going to bounce this idea off the both of you. What do you think about throwing caution to the wind?
Yeah.
And just abandoning the class that I love, which is priest, and just picking another class and playing it for a while. What
I think
what
that's a
say
great
you?
idea. I think that's a good idea. I think you should give her
Well,
a shot.
here's the thing. I would say do that, but I'll get to something that ties into this. But I kind of think you need to stick around and heal. And it'll make sense in a minute. It'll make sense in a minute, I promise. It'll make sense in a minute. No surprises here. I played 20 hours of Assassin's Creed Online or Assassin's Creed
It's
Odyssey.
out?
I've just been playing Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed.
20
It's so good.
hours. Oh my
I played-
god. Wow.
It's so fun. I still have at least 50 hours of content to do in that game. It is a masterpiece. I know I can't say it enough and everybody gets mad at me for it, but man, that game is good. I mean, it is just really good. A lot of MMOs could learn from it. It's really well done. But I was driving in the car. So today, Nick, my friend, and he works with me. We decided to carpool. So we're carpooling and down, and I said, hey Nick, there's this couple weeks ago on the podcast, I remembered this idea I had where I would accentuate ball cleavage, and and I was telling him about this, and he was like, that's a pretty good idea, right? And so we were kind of talking about it and joking around a little bit and everything, and then I got another idea. You know how there's like all these internet kind of crazes that go on and everything like that? Somehow in our talk of ball cleavage, I decided it would be fun if dudes actually jousted, right? Live online. So what I'm saying is they line up 10 feet apart from each other and they just run straight at each other, and the winner wins. Now they have to have, so when they, and then there would be points that are scored. You could lose, you could, this brought a whole bunch of things up, this cleavage thing.
Okay,
and we decided we'd create a new internet thing. Yes.
When you say jousting,
yeah, full on like run at each other joust.
Okay, but with penises or with an actual jousting?
No. Just with what God gave you.
Wow.
God,
that sounds awful. Actually.
Yeah, well, it does for some people, but what we wanted to do is make this a thing that
could
goes
break
around the internet.
Yeah,
it could, and if you break it, you're out. We decided, you're just completely out. See,
have you ever actually seen actual like X-rays of a broken penis?
No, I have never seen that. That sounds amazing.
That's a real thing. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. You can actually rupture. Okay, so there are 3 spongy bodies in the penis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can actually see the third one like protruding through the bottom of the penis. That's why the penis is not completely a perfect circle.
Yeah.
So if you apply too much pressure to the penis when it's erect, you will rip and tear those vascular bodies that hold the blood, because that's all about erection blood, right? So you rip those vascular, and you can actually break your penis.
Talking about this.
Yeah. See, this is kind of what we were talking about, and
that's why ladies
and the really
ladies
good
gotta
guys,
be careful, man.
Yeah, the really good guys though, they would have like names like Old Iron Rod, and you give them names like the combatants, right? And it would be kind of fun. We have a whole system, and anyway, we were talking about that. And for whatever reason in our conversation that went from our ball cleavage to this, okay, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start playing WoW again. That came up. That's exactly where this all led. This whole conversation,
ball cleavage to penis jousting to WoW.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused as to how you got point 1 to point 2. I'm with you.
Right. Yeah.
Ball cleavage, penis jousting. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But then penis jousting to WoW. Is it because like the trial of the Crusader?
No, I don't know why.
That raid or what?
It just came right up, and all of a sudden I had this overwhelming feeling that I would like to play World of Warcraft, and not classic WoW. I was like, I want to play new stuff. Now I've been out of it for a little while, so I was like, it'll be fun. I'm gonna go play some new stuff. Maybe it only lasts a month. Maybe it lasts 2 months. I don't know how long this is gonna last, but I said I'm gonna play that because I want to play that, and this is how I came to that realization today. It was all from this car ride. See, our show led to a conversation, led to another conversation that ultimately led to World of Warcraft. So there you go.
Yeah.
So
well, Art figured it out. Of course, you didn't. In case you didn't see this in chat, he just said the reason you got from step 2 to step 3, because WoW's like getting kicked in the balls over and over again. So you did. It was a natural progression.
It really is. Actually, it's kind of like penis jousting. It hurts. Right? It makes very little sense. It's gonna hurt.
But you do it anyways.
And you do it anyway. And you're just like, it sounds like a good time.
God.
I just figured
that's the truth.
2 dudes line up 10 feet apart and they just ram each other, and we just see what happens, right? It'd be fun to watch. It'd be something exciting. It takes a real man to take that on. But so 6 weeks from now, when my RV trip is over.
Are you really going
I'm
to do
gonna
6
resub.
weeks? Like, I was shocked when I saw that. I did 5 last summer,
Yeah,
and that was a long trip. But you're doing straight up 6. Hold on.
It's pretty
How are
close
you
to
doing
6
6?
weeks.
Because shouldn't you have already left at this point if you're doing 6 weeks?
No, because it's pretty close. It's going to be middle of July when we're back, so it's going to be all of June, middle of July.
Oh, okay. But you're about to leave then, apparently.
It's pretty close. Yeah, we're
Like, you're
about
getting
to leave.
close.
Yeah, we're getting really close. And we figure it might be a little faster than that. I don't know. We could, because really after we get down to Florida, that takes about 3 weeks to kind of do all that. The return trip home could be as fast or slow as we want. So we're kind of leaving that one a little more open because we might want to just haul butt, but we also might want.
I have bets
stop.
that you're going to haul butt.
Really, you
Yeah.
don't think
See.
I'm gonna like it?
Well, that's kind of the way it happened with me. We got all, I love being with you guys. Love seeing Kevin. Love
You
seeing
went so far, though.
Zolder
Yeah,
and all
you
that.
went everywhere.
But we're on the West Coast,
Yeah,
and my wife's like, I think I'm gonna be home. I'm like, eastbound and down, baby. Just
yeah.
and we
load
did
up
it in
and trucking.
like 3 days, which is
That's fast.
insane.
That's fast.
I was doing 800 to 900 miles a day
That is crazy.
That's
for
too much.
3 days in
That's
an
too
RV.
much.
It was
That's
nuts.
too much. That's
Yeah.
too much.
It was too much.
It's gonna be an exciting time, and when I get home, that's when I'm gonna go ahead and start, and I'm going to raid on Mondays. So if anybody wants to come and
Nice.
raid, I'm gonna raid on Mondays. Militus is gonna heal. Tess is gonna
Oh
tank.
God.
We're gonna raid on Mondays. Okay.
No,
Nick
here's what I
is-
think.
Nick is gonna do some DPS. That's 4 of us. Art said that there's some people that are still playing, so we're gonna get them down, and we're gonna go for it.
But listen, wouldn't it be easier for us to all just DPS and jump into a raid? Come on, you got to admit it. It would be, right, Tess? Wouldn't it be just easier for us to just all
No.
DPS and jump into a raid?
No, it's way easier because they need a tank and a heal. To be honest with you, I should jump on heals, and then we could just tank and heal, and we'd be great.
See,
Okay.
Art has
All right.
confirmed what I just said.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. Well, then play a DPS class. Fine. Whatever.
I'm gonna suck it up, Art.
All right.
Get ready
Tess,
for
tell
me to
tell
be at the
everybody how they
bottom
can
of
get
the
a hold of
charts,
us.
Oh. All right. If you would like more anatomy courses by Militus,
Penis jousting.
you can
There are
visit our
3
website.
vascular bodies.
But if you
They fill
See-
with blood.
one of the things that Nick came up with is he was saying, okay, if you penis joust and the 2 penises hit at the exact same time, understanding that there would be like length classes, like we'd have to classify them in different lengths. He was like, how would you know who won? And we decided that maybe we would just dip the tip in ink, so that whoever got the ink blot, the little mushroom stamp on their body, that person would lose a point. Right?
Sure.
Oh God.
So we'd have a little jar of ink. We'd have a little jar of ink for the
Is this like some kind of weird
thing.
tattoo competition where the person with the most mushroom marks at the end of the day
Yeah,
loses? Is
they
that the way
lose.
this?
If you have a bunch of mushroom marks, you lose. Or if it breaks, if one of the 3 vascular bodies breaks down, you're out too. So if you
Oh
break
my
it, you're done.
God.
There's no more. You can't
Yeah.
recover from that sort of thing. So, yeah.
So
I'm sorry,
Tess, please
Go ahead.
continue.
Please
Sure.
continue.
You can visit her website at stopstandingandfire.com.
I have another
you
thought,
can
by the
email
way.
us at
I'm gonna ask you this, Tess.
stopstandingandfire@gmail.com. I'm
No,
going.
this is a
you
good
can
one.
tweet us at.
I have another comment. This is going to be great. This is another thing that actually interests me. Okay, so girls, they wear like bikinis and skimpy outfits and stuff like that in public, and it's fine, right? But where we draw the line is the nipple. That seems to be the thing that nobody will let you.
Nipple
if you
blades.
see
Which is
the
insane.
Nipple
right?
blades.
It's
The
kind of
answer
weird,
is
right?
nipple
So,
blades.
so you have to put like electrical tape on your nipples or something like that, right? That's kind of like, if you do that, then it's totally fine. You can be completely naked as long as you put electrical tape on it. So I was wondering, what is the line that is crossed for the dong? Okay, is it the
Just cover the head. Just put
Is
a
it-
bow on the glands
has
of the
like a
penis
little
and call it a
cap.
day.
A little
Yeah.
cap.
is that
Yep.
what you
Put
have
a little
to do?
sock on
Can-
the end of it and you're good to
Can
go.
you have a penis that's just totally exposed?
As long as you're like
As long
all
as you're-
shaft, you're good.
Really? So that's where it draws the line.
It
See-
just goes straight shaft, it's like cleavage of the boob. You're good.
Right. So I was just thinking.
Am I right,
like,
Tess?
Let's say my.
Come
let's
on,
say
back
my-
me up here.
Let's say my zipper comes undone, and just the head falls out of the zipper.
Then
Right.
you're done. It's like Nipplegate all over again.
No.
Yep.
Well,
Except
that
it's
would be
Headgate at this point.
Yeah, except for what if the pee hole has tape on it? What if I cover the pee
No.
hole and it's just the mushroom head?
If you can
and-
see
and
the
that-
ridge, or what's called the frenulum,
Yeah,
actually. If
Yeah.
you can see the ridge or the frenulum of the glands of the penis, then you're
that's
done.
no good.
Sorry.
That's no
over.
good.
Oh, good.
See,
Nope.
see, I don't think you can expose as
Too
much,
much.
nipple as you can boob. I think you can expose
No.
more boob than nipple.
You can't
than,
expose. Well, of
than
course,
penis.
but you can't
Yeah.
expose. You can expose more shaft than you can glands.
So
the way it
balls
works.
fine too, right? So
Balls fine. Pfft, who cares
fine.
about
You
balls?
could just have those hanging out of your jacket.
Yeah,
Right? Okay.
that's good.
All right. Very good.
I mean,
Okay,
Johnny
so-
Knoxville does it all the time. So I
Yeah,
figure
okay,
if he can
Tess,
get
go
away
ahead.
with it, anyone can. Yeah.
Go ahead, Tess. I'm sorry.
You can tweet us at as a show at SIF Podcast, Boom at Boom Tap Live,
I really
Militus
ruined this
at
for us.
Old Militus, or Tess me at Debuff This. We are live Wednesdays, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific at twitch.tv/Standing in Fire Podcast, or you can call or text us at
Nobody else is gonna listen, by the way.
702-625-1337.
That spells leads. Hell yeah.
I blame.
You guys crack me up.
I'm
so
blaming Visionary Realms for this, by the way.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because-
VR, give us some more news, and we will
Yeah.
talk less dongs and
This
glands.
this
and
show was
boobs and everything
clean.
else.
This show was clean when there was news. And
No, that's
then-
not true.
And then as I was
No.
driving down the highway, like things are now getting it's really getting crazy for me. I mean, these are the conversations I'm having in the car. That's all.
Well, it's
Visionary
fair
Realms'
to
fault.
say that we were never clean.
No.
We just become less clean with less news.
Yeah, right? It's just
So,
I need
so
some
VR,
some stuff.
help us save
Help
ourselves
you.
from
Help
ourselves.
us. Help you.
help us help you.
Love it.
Phone calls, texts, and tweets, Militus. I'm supposed to throw
Yeah.
this to you.
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
got
thank
a
you.
Text
So
message.
I do, and I'm so sorry I didn't put this in the show notes, but I want to read it to you guys.
Yeah.
This is from Drac.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Drac asked a question of us.
Ooh.
They say, "What do you think about a star rating system for grouping with people? Like if you group with someone for an hour plus,
Mm-hmm.
then you have an opportunity to rate them. What say you about a rating system, like a star system, basically? You
Right.
give them like 4 out of 5 stars or 3 out of 5.
Right.
Like, what say you about the rating system for being with people
I'm fine
and
with
Pantheon?
I'm fine with that. I think that that's a pretty good idea. I mean, it just is gonna kind of depend on how like griefer people are going to react. Like, oh, that person didn't run fast enough. But I think we've had that conversation before about things like that. But
Well, I like his point of saying you have to be at an hour.
Yeah, so you
Because-
can
yeah,
just be
You
with
can't
someone
just-
for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and
you can't just be
kick
with
them from
somebody.
the group.
Yeah, kick them from the group or whatever. You'd have to actually like play with them for a long time, which
Yeah.
would kind of give you that.
oh, I
feel.
think that's a good idea because if you play with somebody for a long time, you're less likely to.
Your account is
be a dick
worthless
about
if
it.
you get rated lowly all the time. Your account would be worthless. Because nobody.
But you got to think, like, I know you guys are thinking about the negative aspects of it, and I get it.
Yeah,
Like, I think clearly there could be abuse, no doubt. But then I'm
after an
thinking on the
hour-
other side, man, like we have played with asses before, and this game is supposed to be self-policing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they've said that from the very beginning, like, hey, you're going to have a server identity,
Mhm.
the way you act towards people, that's going to get a reputation. To me, Drac's question kind of puts a system in place for that to happen.
Yeah.
But and here's two, like, obviously, maybe you guys have done this. I'm sure you have. Like, I'll often read product reviews on Amazon for something I'm considering
Mhm.
buying, right? And I'll invariably find someone who's just pissed off about the product.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
what do? I click on their name because I want to see how they rated other products. And it's very apparent to me that I get that at times I'm like, oh, I totally discount what that person says.
Yeah.
Because I can see all their other ratings and I'm like, you hate the world.
Yeah, you're not
You
not
hate
happy.
everything.
This isn't going well for you.
So I give zero legitimacy to your rating. And I think as long as that part of the system was present, where you could look at how people vet other people, like if you saw someone was an asshat and they gave everyone 0 stars, like Lex is worried about, I don't think, we would give them much credibility, right? Isn't that the way you would approach it?
Yeah, I mean,
I think
for your
I
raters,
think so.
but on the surface, it sounds pretty cool. It does. And I don't even know if I can find a fault in it, but it feels like somebody would figure out a way to botch it. I don't know. It feels like that, but maybe it doesn't. I'm kind of in favor of that. It'd be a sense of pride, man, if you were a nice dude and just kind of took care of everybody and just was nice and you have a nice almost 5-star rating. That would be something you'd almost hold that in higher regard than your level or your gear or your anything. Because it would kind of just tell the world what kind of a person you are. And that would be
and part of me wonders if it's even necessary, to be honest, because I'm thinking if the servers are small, which I think they're going to be,
everybody will
smallish,
kind of know everybody. Yeah,
then they'll know you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll kind of know you. And like, I want to push back on Art's point. He's like, hey, Raider.io. And dude, Art, could not agree more. I hate the Raider.io. I hate the whole Mythic Plus rating system, that kind of stuff. But that's really based like on skill. And what I'm talking about,
right?
and I think what Drac is talking about is more like social interaction. So if you're a total douchebag to somebody and they give you 0 stars out of 5 versus your skill, but I could be wrong. Like maybe he's talking skill, but I just kind of thought he was talking like, or they are talking social interaction with people and how you treat people.
What if it wasn't like a star system rather, but what if it was just like a helpful, or maybe if it was like 3 positives and you could get none or you could get 1. So, if you play with somebody and they've got 300 helpfuls, you kind of would have an idea that that's probably a pretty helpful person. They're pretty nice. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a system I think League of Legends uses that. They have kind of this,
as long as it's not forced. I think as long as it's not forced.
Yeah.
Because if it's forced, let's be honest, right? If we group with someone at the end of the grouping, it's like the surveys you take. You just want to get through them. And if it's forced, I think it becomes less valid. But if it's not forced, if you have the option, if you're like, you know what, this person was such a good dude or girl or whatever, like I got to go out. If you have to take the extra step to go out and give them a rating, to me, oh man, that adds a lot of validity to the system, because I mean, if you have to do that, gamers don't like to waste time. So if you feel like that's not a waste of your time, then that person must have been a really good human being, or else you wouldn't take your time to give them a rating.
You talked to me. I'm for it now.
Yeah,
Militus has got me on board.
Yeah, I like
no
your
rebuttal.
caveat of the longer play. You have to have played with them for a while. I think that's I like that.
That was a key component to the.
That's what just sold me. 100%.
So thank you, Drac. That's a great text, and you can always text us at 702-625-1337.
That spells leads. Hell yeah!
All right. I liked it. Trotter Nation 796 on. I just want to throw a shout out on YouTube. Just said he really enjoys the podcast. Just found y'all's show, so I'm thinking maybe.
Oh, he's from Texas.
He's from Texas,
my man.
No, if he was from that far south, he'd said all y'all's.
All y'all's.
If he's from Tennessee, he'd say yuns.
Yuns.
It's fine, yuns.
That was very nice. And Aaron Mulligan 6. I also wanted to throw him a shout out. He said, "I love your show. Someday I hope to catch it live." Today was your day, Aaron. This was your time. This was your place. I also have a new little segment that I've been doing each week, which is called Tweets That VR Won't Answer.
Oh. Oh,
Okay, so
no.
these are my new tweets. So every week I tweet VR something. I ask them some sort of a question about the game, an idea about the game. I try to be fair. I'm not being mean. But these are tweets that VR will not answer. And so here we go. So first one that VR would not answer. I said Visionary Realms, Pantheon MMO, should you roll out on Google or Microsoft xCloud or Google Stadia? Any plans to embrace streaming technologies? Because we're entering a new era of gaming. We're going to find out about this in about another couple weeks, but the rumor has it that all of the big manufacturers, Sony, Microsoft, Google, everybody is planning streaming technologies. And this would actually fix something that Boom has a problem with. We know that I record this show on a Dell Optiplex.
Mm-hmm.
We know that I
record being a very strong word.
It is very this thing barely happens. And I don't want to go out and spend $1,000 on a 2080 video card to play the latest greatest game. And so this has shifted me into kind of a console mindset because I like my console. It doesn't go as obsolete and all the games work on it and I don't have as much of a problem. And it's kind of driven me towards consoles because it's just more cost effective. It fits within my meager budget better. And the cloud streaming stuff fixes that. That means I will be able to run every game at the highest resolution, the best quality on my. I mean, Google has already said your Chromebook is going to run it. Your TV is going to run it. Everything's going to run it.
Tess, notice how Boom didn't mention anything about ping. Did you hear that?
Yeah,
No,
you know why?
He said nothing about latency latency.
All right, so let me explain that though. There's this brand new thing coming out called 5G. It's coming to your phone. I had it at IKEA the other day.
You has phone?
I got 5G.
You has phone?
It's going to revolutionize the internet because you're going to get gigabit speed through your 5G connection on your phone. We're not going to have hardwired internet any longer, and there's going to be fewer points from start to finish. So I'm just saying these services are going to come out, and the skeptics can be skeptics. It is still happening. This is the future of gaming. This is where it's going. And I just wondered, but no answer. And I didn't expect an answer because I'm sure they can't talk about it even if they did. But still. The second one that I went ahead and tossed out is I said, this was a fair question. I thought this was pretty good. How important is staying with a classical mindset compared to building innovation into the game? So how important is it to kind of have that older school feel? This is something
it's
that
a
I'm
balance. Come on, Boom. It's
how
a
close
balance.
is it? Right. I said, is Pantheon a new version of an old game? Because that's what I'm getting the feeling of, guys. By the way, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's how I'm getting the feeling. Or is it a brand new game?
No. You just get that
pays
feeling because,
respect to old
like you
ways?
told us, that's what people are asking. But that's not
Yeah,
necessarily
people
what we'll get.
I hope not. People are clamoring. The more and more I talk to everybody, the more and more they're just like, I'm like, they just want EQ. They just want EverQuest. Yeah, they want EverQuest 1. And so I'm like, it's kind of that classic debate that, everybody's having with WoW and stuff like that.
And you see that in WoW too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my thing. Bazgrim just he took a chance to answer 4 Visionary Realms on this one, and he just
did he? Oh, I'm curious.
Yeah,
What did he say?
He copied the FAQ from Visionary Realms' website, which I've read already, and he just throwed it, all the way down the list.
Hey.
But I'm just
saying, Bazgrim,
like,
I was got the shout out to you. Way to throw caution to the wind, my brother.
Yeah, right. He just went out.
You're a risk taker there.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna just give you the FAQ. So I was like, okay. But I only bring this up because I really do want the game to separate itself from other MMOs. I think MMOs need to advance. I don't think just having classical game systems is the way to go. I think they do have to advance and do something better and make it better.
But here's the thing. I'll push
at.
back a little bit against you and say this, Boom. they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, I agree.
You can hold core tenets of what made classical games great
Yeah.
while also innovating.
I
Am I right,
agree.
Tess? Can't you do both at the same
100%
time?
agree with you.
I agree, but you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. It's partially because if I go out into Twitter, or I go to Reddit, or I go to any of these websites, everybody in there seems to be clamoring, and even the posts that VR makes where they say, hey, would you like this type of system or this type of system, everybody's answer is always, I just want it to be just like EQ. Like, right down to the very last post they made where they said, would you like a dungeon finder tool in the game, or would you like it to be some other system? The answer overwhelmingly in that thread was, I just want you to use the system EQ uses for finding groups.
Yeah.
I just use EQ for that.
Well,
just use EQ for this. And I'm just scared
listen.
that
I'll
they're
go
just gonna make
classical in
EQ.
this response, and I'll say the same thing. I'll say, look, dude, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And WoW fixed it, and it sucked the life out of the game. So
Yeah,
I'm with them. I'm with them. Sorry.
This is where I've come to disagree with you, Militus. I actually think new current WoW is better than old WoW. And I'm going to explain why. There's not enough of it. You see, new WoW and all the systems are actually kind of fun. I can just I can finish the game in 6 hours. If I had to spend 300 or 400 hours leveling in current WoW with all the systems in place, I would love the game, and I would have a blast with the game, and I would still be playing the game.
But part of that leveling is finding people to play with.
It could be, but to me, it just got real thin. They're just making these little tiny games now. WoW is not massive anymore. And
Right.
that's the problem.
Because you
It's
don't
not
need massive to complete quests. You don't need massive to complete objectives.
But here I am.
You
I'm
just
doing quests and
go out and kill
objectives in
everything.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've got 200 hours of gameplay. I'm still having as much fun with the current quests
Because
as I
it's
had at the starting
perfectly
quest.
tuned for
Yeah.
single player, and that's why you love it so much. It's hard to do that
But
in
I
an
think
MMO.
they
It's
could.
hard to
I
tune
think
it
they
that
could do
way.
it. You know what? The for me, it's just the worlds are tiny now. I don't care what they say.
No,
about
they
measuring
are.
landmass.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
tiny, and they're just making smaller and smaller and smaller levels, and they have to go back to an old way. They need to make big, gigantic levels again. And I thought that's where they were going with it when they got rid of flying. I really did, when they were kind of like, we're going to take away flying for leveling because we want to do it. It's not. It was so that they could squish it more. They were like, hey, we got to just keep squeezing these levels and making the zones smaller.
The genie was out of the bottle, right? Once you
Yeah.
introduce it,
It was done.
it's done. And that's what Pantheon's not going to do. They're not going to introduce it. I'm 100% certain of that. They're not going to introduce flying because they know that when they do, the genie's out of the bottle and you can't put it back in. So, and like Minus makes a point, if you can just like use systems like LFG, flying, whatever, to skip the world, it feels really small. It feels really small if those systems are in place. I mean, dude, you and I have lamented this issue over the years. How long did we spend just admiring Teldersil or Westfall? You did that in early WoW because you couldn't fly. Oh, thank you, Scribble.
Thank you.
Oh man,
Thanks, Scribble.
appreciate that. Yeah, you didn't have those luxuries. Oh my
Holy
gosh,
crap.
it's lighting up tonight. Look at this, amazing.
Well, those were my thoughts. So that's where I was going with it. I'm not trying to make a big stink, but I'm legitimately, I am an MMO gamer. That's what I am, and I want to play MMOs.
Good ones.
Good
But
ones.
I want, that's my problem is I want good ones, and
There's just a lack of good ones right now. Is what the problem is.
Yeah, and there's two things that everybody keeps doing in modern MMOs. They keep making them small, and they keep making them action combat.
Yeah.
And I need a tab targeting MMO with a gigantic world that is just a monster. Like, I don't want to get to the end of the world. I shouldn't be able to do that in one play. I shouldn't be able to sit down and walk to the edge of the map. Like, it should not happen. It's got to be that big. There's no way I would have done that in Classic WoW. And modern WoW, they don't do it.
Well,
but
because
I will say
on the
a
way
lot
to
of
the
it
edge of
was
the
great.
world, you would have gotten your ass kicked.
Mhm.
Also,
Now,
let's
have you
make
heard though,
that.
have you heard a lot of classic players that were talking about that though? They were actually they were making the comments so much to Blizzard that Blizzard had to reply to him. They were saying that the classic was too easy, that they had tuned it down. And Blizzard was
And
like,
then
no.
Blizzard responded with the actual
What?
data.
Yeah, Blizzard was like, no, it's not actually too easy. It's exactly the way it was. You're just better at the game now. And I think there's part of that. I think
Or
if
they
we
were
go in
playing
there-
private servers that weren't accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you and I were to go in there now and play, we would roll through things a lot faster than we remember them.
Well, boom.
Because
You
I
might
was in
want to
gray
like
gear.
tap the brakes a little bit on that,
Yeah.
because like you pull 2 mobs in classic
Oh,
WoW,
right. You don't.
you're
do
gonna
that.
get your ass
Yeah,
kicked.
yeah,
But
100%.
I was
I mean-
also I was in gray gear when I was doing that. I got a little more understanding of what's happening with the game. But I
No, I know. I feel
I
you.
still
I'm
say-
with you. That
still
our
say
experience
modern WoW
would
is
pay
better.
dividend.
I'm still saying modern WoW is better than old
We
WoW.
have a phone call.
All right. Let's bring it. Let's bring it on here.
All right.
Here
Hello,
we go.
caller. How are you?
Here we go.
To accept, press 1.
Oh, sorry. I have to accept them first.
Yes.
Hello, caller. How are
To
you?
accept, press 1.
Oh, they hung up. Oh no. No, call back.
We could never
No,
get
I
that
had-
stupid thing to work.
Oh, I had you. I pressed 1 twice. Did you hear me? I pressed it twice. Call
Well,
back. I'm almost sad, man.
We don't have any news.
Don't know your gaming news? Well, neither do we. But who the cares?
Well, there's not any news,
Oh,
but
oh,
we're
oh,
still
oh,
going to
they're
do the
calling
news
back.
segment. All right. Let's hear
They're
it.
calling-
Let's-
they're calling
let's see
back.
if we can make this happen. All right.
Hello, caller.
Hey, what's up, guys? I haven't called in a very long time, so I actually wanted to call in, make a quick point if I could.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Go for it.
It's about time, you lazy bastard, that you decided to call in. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while for sure. So here's my thing. I wanted to jump in on because Boom doesn't read chat. We've seen 17 episodes. We're aware that Boom doesn't read any chat. So I wanted to jump in on something important here that we're talking about. And Boom had made some points about how MMO worlds aren't big. How the World of Warcraft world is not big. And Boom, I apologize. I don't know if you played when the game came out, but I played Alliance. And the story I want to share real quick is trying to get everybody together to get to Stormwind from the Night Elf area was a journey. I mean, it took
that was rough.
hours. And we don't remember how long it takes to do things on foot, especially without a mount, let alone a flying mount. And if that's what makes these MMO worlds so big, is when it takes you a long time and you have to go through areas that are higher level than you. And you have to go through dangerous things where you may die on that journey, which is going to add more time. I think that the danger of the world and the speed at which you're able to traverse it is what makes the world big. If you took flying out, I think things like Legion and all the rest of those worlds would seem huge, would seem much bigger than they are now.
Mhm.
And I think that things like we were saying, like the looking for group that teleports you somewhere. If you guys all play WoW, you remember trying to get to Scarlet Monastery as Alliance was a nightmare. It took forever. So just a couple quick points I wanted to make. I love you, Boom. I do. But I know you don't read chat.
I love how you guys, like, every time you guys talk, you're like, no, I love you, but we're gonna argue.
Thank you, guys.
C-.
All right.
Thank you,
Love
buddy.
you, minus.
And he makes good points, and I agree with all of those points. But that's where the innovation has to come in. The innovation of this game has to come from these game designers figuring out a way to make that adventure happen again. And you can't do it by shrinking the worlds.
I'll throw one more
Throw some
example into
shade.
that mix.
All right, throw it in there.
Do you guys, because we all played Alliance to begin with, and wow,
Yeah.
Shadowfang Keep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You remember the journey to Shadowfang Keep? And I played on a
Scarlet
PvC.
Monastery was terrible getting there.
Well, I do.
Did you have to
Shadowfang
run-
Keep was no joke. And and another thing too, dude, I played on PvP server. Just getting the Wailing Caverns. Holy hell, did I get ganked to no end?
Oh yeah,
trying to get to Wailing Caverns. It was bad. And as much as I hated it, the PvP, I love the feeling of actually it was an adventure to get there.
Oh yeah,
and I don't feel that in most modern MMOs.
Yeah. I told myself I'd never not play on a PvP server back in the day. I enjoyed that. And some of my best stories were being ganked and talking about it.
You still talk Spoon from WildStar all these years later.
I love it. No,
you don't talk about the day we ran a dungeon or anything like that. You're just like Spoon. Militus. Remember Spoon?
Yeah, that's because that dude spanked me, man. I mean, oof. But no,
you wouldn't remember it if you weren't playing on a PvP server.
It's very true. I wouldn't have remembered that, and it wouldn't have been as much fun, and it wouldn't have been as cool. But I guess I'm just looking for somebody to innovate, and
they will.
I don't want to just.
I trust in Visionary Realms to innovate.
I like Dungeon Finder. I like that. I loved to coming home, and running a dungeon. I know you don't, but I loved coming home and running a dungeon. I loved just that whole process of doing that. Speedruns ruined dungeons for me, but I loved actually just being able to queue up for one and run it. And I still like that. I really do. I'm going to go against the grain.
I'm with
here
Boom on this one.
I love it. I love it. I love just
and
being
the reason
able to
No way.
The reason is that I'm the type of person, we've had this conversation, that I would feel really bad about like going to my guild and being like, hey, does anybody want to run this dungeon? Because then I feel like they're going out of their way to help me to run it.
But that's the point of being in a guild.
I know, Militus.
Tess.
I always feel like
That's spoken like somebody who never needs a hand-me-down. See what I'm saying?
I absolutely need hand-me-down times,
I don't
man.
think you ever need hand-me-downs. You are always on top of it.
I was a clicker, dude. I used to be a clicker.
Yeah.
I'm still a clicker.
Militus, I'm going to paint this picture. Militus is successful. He has an RV that he rents out, makes some cash. He's got his doctorate. When he plays World of Warcraft, he's one of the top players. He was always top of the meters. Militus has this figured out.
I play my World of Warcraft the same way I install air conditioning units on the top of my RV.
That's what you say.
I F it up pretty bad, most of the time. But I have other people that laugh with me as I screw it up, and that's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
All right. Well, I'll give that from you. But that leads us into a new segment because I didn't really have anything else to talk about. How much of the past do we want to relive versus how much new do we want from our MMO? Right? How much of the past do you want to relive versus how much new do you want from an MMO? So, Tess, kick us off a little bit. How much of the past do you want to relive?
Well, I would say for me, it's about there's some of it that I want to relive. There are some things that I want to recapture. Where you're just like, I want those in a new MMO. I want that feeling can't go away for me. I want that feeling of open. When I say open-ended, I don't want to have to follow a path in order to. That's something that I enjoyed from the original WoW. Is that every single time I leveled a character, and I leveled a lot of characters, it took a different path to get there. I would go through a different zone, and you always start in the beginner zones, but then you would, this time, you know what? I think I'm going to hit the Badlands. I'm going to go through this zone, and I might be 1 or 2 levels ahead of it or whatever. Yeah, I get you. Yeah. And so that's something that I'd like. I want to be able to pick my path. I don't want it to be the same every single time. I want that kind of feeling of exploration, and there's, at least for me, I feel like there should be something at the end of the rainbow. For example, nothing drove me nuts more in WoW when I would go off the beaten path and I would go running through and find this one little corner, a cave that I'd never seen before, and go down, clear out the cave, and there was absolutely nothing special about it. It was just a cave full of spiders for God knows what reason.
Spiders, yeah.
And it was like, you know, like why does it exist? It should be there for a reason. Like this cave should either have like a big bad at the end of it, or you know what I mean, something to reward my exploration. Guild Wars did that really, really well.
Yeah,
like Guild Wars did a great job keeping you wanting to dive into those into those caves. So those are the things that I really like. What I would like to see innovated upon is leveling in class. Like there's just probably a different way to do leveling than just watch a bar go across your screen. You know, and I think that that's something that's we're just stuck with. And I think it'd be really interesting if Visionary Realms came up with something a little
figure out something new,
different. Yeah, something a little different there.
Well, it's all good concepts. Militus, I know this is going to be a strong thing for you. What do you want to relive? What do you want to take from the beginning?
I just want grind. I know that sounds kind of odd, but I want to
doesn't sound odd to
feel
me.
accomplished. I want to feel accomplished for what I do. It's pretty much just that simple for me. If you can give me a task that is moderately to high challenge, not that I have to have the greatest Twitch skills, but that I have to put forth the effort and the time and game. If you can innovate while doing that, that's the perfect MMO for me. So stay true to things like, you know, grind your way there, work hard, get rewards for working hard, but at the same time, we're going to give you new ways to get there. And it's not always going to be go kill 10 rats. It might be something different, but in any case, you will have to grind. So I'm calling for I want more grind in my MMO. I want to be reinvigorated and having to really work diligently day in, day out at trying to achieve goals. And as long as they can do that from the good old days, then have new graphics, new quest types, then I'm good. Like I was telling my son the other day, we were having this conversation about Oregon Trail. And
you have died of syphilis.
He's like,
or dysentery.
He's like, did you play? He's like, did you play Oregon Trail in the late 80s or whatever? I'm like, yeah, I did. And he's like, you legit played it on a PC. I'm like, I did.
Yeah.
And he's like, did you like it? It was a lot of fun. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, man, that seemed like a cool concept for a game. I said, let me tell you something. There was a game that a couple of years ago reimagined that. And it was called WildStar. And WildStar had what was it called? Was it an adventure? I think they called it an adventure called Malgrave Trail. And along the trail, you had to collect water and food, and you were like with a caravan. And they kind of reimagined Oregon Trail, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. But there wasn't enough grind and there wasn't enough grind in the way you would approach it to give you a good reward, so people stopped doing it. And it made me sad because I thought that was a really cool kind of innovation. They also had in that game had a MOBA. I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but they had a MOBA built into.
I never really played it.
Yeah, they had a MOBA built into one of the adventures. They had Oregon Trail built into one of the adventures. Like that kind of innovation is what we need, but it's got to be kind of grounded in grind.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I agree.
Kind of like, do you remember what was a Super Adventure Box?
I do.
That was
absolutely. I loved the Super Adventure Box. It was a lot of fun. Yep.
I need to find
Stuff
that
like
episode.
that is cute.
That was a good episode where we did the funny voices at the beginning.
It was a really good episode. I just find it kind of amusing that people have such, and I'm not saying you, Lex, I know you put hashtag back to the grinder, but I just find it amusing that people have such an averse reaction to the word grind.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I've noticed this in modern WoW, as much as I've disliked it, they had this several months ago. They had this quest where you could get like one of the best rings in the game by grinding island adventures, and I despise island adventures. Let me tell you, not my cup of tea.
You loved them when it started.
When it started,
yeah,
but not so much towards the end. But you know what I did when they introduced this ring? I grinded the hell out of some island adventures because I knew, hey, it's going to take me a couple weeks, but I'm going to get this really kick-ass ring if I just grind through this.
Yeah.
And when it was over, Boom, I felt let down.
Why?
I was like, because it was over. The
Oh.
grind was over.
Yeah,
and
right.
I'm like,
you're kind of like, I
what
don't
do I
have
do
the thing.
now?
Yeah.
What do I do now? Like the carrot's gone, Tess. What do I do now?
Well, you know, here's a good example.
I think
Pokemon
there's a
Go.
difference.
Pokemon Go. Collect them all. That game has 200 million players. And there's 10, 20 million a day playing it. And that game has all grind. It is literally the same small mechanics all the time to collect them all. But it's funny how that actually is a thing. And I don't think people are as adverse to it as they think, but boy, the word they're adverse to. Boy, you mentioned the word grind, and everybody's like, oh, that game is so grindy. And it's weird how our culture, our gamer culture, when they hear the word grind, they don't even give the game a look. They're just like,
yeah, Merrick speaks this in chat. They say that games have improperly used the word grind and as a waste of time.
Yeah,
as people, anybody, I don't care whether you're a gamer or not a gamer. If someone kind of covets or proposes something to you and they're like, this is a grind, this is a waste of your time, automatically we have a negative connotation of that. And so, yeah, I could see that. But then Minus brings it up. Look, some of my best times in any MMO, EQ, WoW, doesn't matter. If I just can sit there and just beat the shit out of something and feel like I'm moving towards a goal. Call that grind.
That's
call
the difference.
that whatever you want.
There you go. But that's the difference. That's the difference, I think, between going and just going and doing something and doing something and doing something, is that there's got to be a carrot there. And the carrot has to be, worth this time that you spend. Okay. So if you're grinding for a piece of gear or you're grinding for whatever, the thing that I think some games got when they get grindy, to me at least, when I think of that word, when I think of the word grind, I'm thinking I'm doing it for just to get to the next spot. Like I just have to do this so that I can get to the next spot where I get to do something fun. If that makes sense. So that's what I think of when I think of the word grind.
Okay, I want to add to that, Tess, is that it's not just the carrot and what you get, but here's my ultimate, like this is the pinnacle of what meaningful grind is for me. When at the end, the grind's not over. You see what happens? Another door opens.
Yeah, and you go to the next part. Yeah,
that's the quintessential moment to me. Like go back to Vanilla WoW, go back to BC, when I had to hit all those heroics to get my key to Karazhan.
Yeah, you had to.
That was a grind. Yeah. That was a grind. Now, when it was over, it wasn't over. It opened a new door. Okay, now I get to start Karazhan. Now, when I get to the end of that grind and I get all the drops I need, now I get to go to Black Temple. You see what I'm saying? Like there was it opened more doors. It wasn't like at the end you got your and it was over. It was like, oh, congratulations, you've achieved this. Now you are given a new challenge, and that's what I miss a lot.
Yeah. Well, no, Turin, we absolutely agree with you. Keying for Kara was kind of fun.
I agree with you guys. I totally in on that. The grind is something that I want. That's probably part of the reason I love Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the grind. There's a lot of grind in it. I'm telling you, it's a huge grind. Everybody would love that game. Everybody that teases me would love that game. It's a 10 out of 10. That game is
Hey
amazing.
man, I don't tease you.
I don't tease you.
If any
It's-
gamer is having a good time, I don't tease them like that.
But here's the thing.
I'm only jealous. If people tease you, they're just jealous that you're.
Yeah. That game is so much like, it gives me the same feelings that I used to get playing so one of my greatest moments was Wrath of the Lich King, when I decided I had done a lot of the content and I said, I'm going to level crafting. And I had not leveled crafting ever before, and that was a grind to level crafting back then.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
Yeah.
And I farmed all the mats. I ground every little bit to build my own armor that I wore, that, by the way, was better than some of the base armor I could get at the time for these dungeons. And I remember being so proud coming into the dungeon in a set of gear that I built. And I walked into that dungeon proud, Rhett Pally throwing that sword, just having a good old time, just hacking people down. And it was like all that grind paid off to this thing I could use. And that was amazing to me. And I bet I spent 400 hours one summer grinding that gear and never have any regrets. And still to this day, I think about it. It was one of the most fun parts of what I did. And so I kind of like that. Here's a couple thoughts for you, though, I want to throw out to you guys. Have we just overplayed MMOs and now we're bored? Have we played them so much now that nothing's going to meet the needs?
I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. Nope, I don't. I think that what's happened is it's not as much of a case as we played it out as much as we've been played out. So I think what
Tess,
it is.
Have you just overplayed MMOs, Tess? You've played every single MMO there is.
That's a lie. But no, I think
You have
I think
a max
that
character in every game.
no, I don't. You guys always overhype me way too much.
She's max
Good
level.
of a player as you can
Max
say.
level every game. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I think that there has to be something to keep you playing, and that's where I think MMOs struggle, is that it's hard and it's expensive to keep churning out content. So when you get to end game and there's the only thing that's left for you to do in a game is just to raid or do dailies, things get old fast. So I wouldn't say that we overplayed MMOs. I would say that we played them until there was nothing else to play anymore. You know.
Well, that's why I made the argument they played out.
Oh, I see.
It's like we have not played them out. They have played they played us out. Is what it is. They designed the games. It's so antithetical to the original traditions of what an RPG is supposed to be, that we're lost. We have nowhere. We're like the tribe just wandering the desert, hoping to find some place that's got these kind of core tenets like Pantheon does, that make an MMO a real MMO, not just a engagement. That's the big word in the stockholder meetings, say, right? Is user engagement and all that. Like, well, okay. How about just making it fun? Keeping it core to the traditions of what an RPG is. And you'll have a good game.
Well,
sorry.
On that note, if you have an RV and it's missing a window, you might be from Tennessee.
Yes, indeed.
If you pulled
well
out
played, sir.
Oh, sorry. There it goes. If you pulled out the air conditioner unit off your RV and stripped a couple bolts, you might be from Tennessee. It's time for the Militus forums and Reddit segment. Militus, take us away.
Oh man, that really hurts. Both of those really hurt, but indeed true.
Yeah.
So I do have just one Reddit post tonight, and it's from username Atlas CC, and the title of the post was "My friend made this suggestion," and I thought it was a really kind of cool idea. I'm going to throw it out to you guys and throw it out to the audience, see what you guys thought about it. So I was talking with a friend of mine and telling him about Pantheon. He never played EverQuest, but heard of it and loves RPGs and is very interested in Pantheon. I was telling him how the auction houses will city specific, and he asked me how cool it would be if they had city specific side games. For example, you travel to the human city and there's a card game that's very popular amongst taverns at that city. And travelers will come from far lands to test their luck for some coin.
The Scar could do jousting.
They could do the double dome jousting.
That's awesome. Yes, I love this idea, Atlas. Okay, sorry, go ahead, keep going.
So then there's a famous board game that can only be found in the city of Elves, for example. Obviously, this isn't something to be worked on now, but later down the line, this gives cities more uniqueness and a culture and gives travelers more incentive to travel, as well as giving reasons to spend more time in cities before going back out into the world. Thought this was a cool idea. What do you think? So I'll throw it out to you two first
really
in the chat.
Cute.
I
Oh,
love
in
it.
chat. Well, we'll see what they have to say. But this is what I've always, as an RPG lover, I always felt it was like really kind of lame how taverns really weren't
Nothing.
taverns. Like
Yeah.
you'd go in one maybe to do like a save or something like that, or have a room there or something like that. But that's the only reason you'd really be in the tavern. And so I think this is cute. Like you go to a tavern and there's like the doors have a drinking game, mini game or something like that, and there's a little mini game that you can play. I think that's really cute. I think that's adorable.
I do
I
too.
love it. I love it. I think this tied into I want to say it was probably 6 or 7 episodes ago. We talked about how the towns had to be close to the instances so that you could you prepared for the instance by going to the town and maybe getting the buff or the food or the item from the town that's specific for that zone. So, we were talking about the weather, and so let's say it's snow and you have to go get I don't know, those little hot things that you stick in your gloves, so that you got better dexterity. Just little quirky things like that. And I think that anything you can do to make those towns and cities feel alive and add purpose to them. Nobody likes to go into an MMO and not see anybody, and the towns are the funniest parts. They're the most desolate places in the games usually, because there's nothing to kill and there's nothing really going on.
Except for the one town, like the Stormwind.
Except for the main city, right? But towns should be alive in every scenario. And I think this would be one way to kind of perk that up. I would love to see a little miniature Las Vegas in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think this is cute.
So Minus wants me to ask Boom, since he doesn't read text, what if you could go to a local arcade in the cities and play Assassin's Creed 27 while playing Pantheon? Talk about levels of inception here.
Yeah, levels of inception. I would probably be stuck in that town, and I would play it for at least 200 plus hours. Would be my guess. Yeah, Assassin's
I would
Creed.
love it too if they even had specific. You could only have specific recipes from certain crafters, like in certain cities.
Yeah.
Dwarven,
Absolutely.
whatever. You had to go
100%.
I think
that would be
100%.
Everything.
They used to kind of have something like that in WoW, where you would have to go to certain places to buy certain recipes.
Yeah, they used to spread.
I'll tell you what they did have. That you guys remember whenever races were restricted? Well, you could not buy a mount that was not for your race.
For your race, yeah.
And so I, as a Draenei back in the day, I had this in my mind. I'm like, how stupid would a Draenei look on a goat?
Yeah.
You would look, because they're so big.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I got enough silk or cotton or whatever it was, and go to Ironforge and just turn in over and over and over again, get rep, I can buy one of those damn goats. And the first day, again, this is what back to my point of grind. It took me months to get to that to that point.
But then
But
it felt
man,
normal
the
because you
day that I rode around on my freaking little goat with that big ass Stranai, it was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, because
And
the goat
that's
was
what
like this
MMOs
big,
have.
right? It was just like
Oh,
that
it was
little
tiny.
Yeah.
And I would
remember
hit my
that.
space bar, man. He would stand up and he would like all his might, like, man, I got this big ass Stranai on my back. It was great. I love
Like it kind of gets to the
I did
customization
almost the
talk.
exact same thing with my gnome and got an Elec for the exact same reason. Little
'Cause-
bitty gnome,
'cause you were so
ginormous
tiny on it.
elephant.
That's awesome.
That's what's missing. That's what's missing from MMOs is those kind of nuance, that kind of nuance in a game.
Mhm.
Again, not a big system, not a ton of development time, but good thinking by the
And a way that
developers.
you can, a way that you can. I
Yeah.
can get that mount. It's not a drop.
But it was a
Not
grind.
in
I
the cash
can
shop.
get it. I
Not in the
can't
cash
get it.
shop.
I don't have to, do the same, it's not a drop. So I'm not up to RNG. So yeah, things like that I'm fine with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And art's like
it
he's
is.
about world building, and it is.
Yeah.
It certainly is about world building. And I would say WoW did a great job of world building. Art early in the days of WildStar, man, let me tell you, they kind of had a great idea.
They did.
Settlers, talk about world building, man. Settlers could build like buff stations.
Yep.
They could build all these cool things out in the middle of the
Mhm.
world that other players could use.
Yep.
And
That was one of the
those
things
kind
I
of
did, yeah.
ideas.
Well, they
I
had like
vaguely remember that.
everybody had a little specialization that they could kind of contribute to the
Mhm.
world. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And if somebody else had built the station, you were the same type of player, you could come up to that station and buff it or build it stronger or build it to the next
Right.
tier.
You could build it up,
It-
right.
it
You
was-
can make it stronger.
It was really kind of fun, and so you would people as they were questing in zones would sort of band together and prop that stuff up, and then you had that buff while we were kind of running together. It was really
Yep.
really cool. Yeah.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, it was awesome. If that was a tab target,
It was great in the beginning. It was
Yeah.
really good in the beginning.
It was so good. It was so good. I still like get little tears that fall when I think of the launch music.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, and it's been rough. It's been rough. Well, I think that's a cool idea. Thank you so much for who is that? That was Atlas CC.
That was Atlas CC.
Hopefully he's listening to the show and he realizes that I turned his great idea into a dirty one. That could be used, by
As
the
you always
Scar.
do.
The Scar. 2 dongs and 1 ball equals good jousting fun.
Lex is somewhere just laughing his ass off right now. He loves it.
Exactly. Well, on that note, it's time to maybe
Get a new Optiplex.
is it time? There it goes. It's time to get
Hold on.
soft.
Is it on stream? Is it on? Please
Oh,
tell me
yeah.
it's there.
Oh yeah, it's there. It's time to get soft with the community. Tess, who we getting soft with tonight?
We're getting super soft.
Yeah.
With Nathan Napalm today.
Oh.
He's
Nathan
been
has
making some-
2 videos out. They're
Yeah.
great. You guys got to watch them. He has one where he talks about dynamic events and how that can
Is that
be
the end of
used,
the world one?
What?
He has that one where he talks about the end of the world. No,
I don't
Not ringing a bell.
think so.
All right.
At least I don't remember.
I'll stop talking.
Maybe I'm
I
wrong.
wonder when Nathan has dynamic events, if that's a left-handed operation,
Yeah.
right-handed operation,
It is.
or maybe uses both hands. I don't know.
It is.
He likes
And
to
he-
play the keyboard and the mouse at the same
Yeah.
time.
And he also has a video out about gear
Yeah.
and how like an idea about gearing and how your gear should be like at any level. It's really interesting. You should go check it out.
Very
And
cool.
that is the new content that we got.
That was soft. That's pretty fantastic.
Ooh, so soft.
I would say though, I did watch some video that Nathan Napalm did that was kind of fun, where he talked about the end of the world, and the end of the world was coming before Pantheon got released, and he was just dying to log in right before the end of the world happened. It was very funny, and I liked it. So,
Well, one more thing about getting, and Micah, so forgive me. Did we mention his Bard video last week?
Yeah, we mentioned it.
Okay, because it was really cool. I watched it this week. So sorry, Mike, I didn't watch it last week, but I watched it this week and I really enjoyed it. So big shout out to Micah for the Bard video.
Absolutely. Good. Thank you, Micah.
I'm not even a Bard main. I watched the whole thing. That was cool.
That's great. Well, on that note, guys, we're going to go ahead and give any shout outs that we have. Who has a shout out here? It looks like Militus.
I got a shout out. I got a shout out. We got Lex in the chat tonight. Of course, Voices of Terminus they're back. They're back off their hiatus. So big shout out to them.
We'll get some
the thing is, like,
finally,
and Lex has got to confirm this or minus. Now they've kind of screwed me up because I think they recorded on a Saturday last time, and I was so used to seeing them on Friday. So big shout out to them for being back. But I don't know when they go live necessarily anymore. So let me know, Lex. Yeah, because he said they did move to Saturday. That's what screwed me up. So welcome back, brother. Glad to have you guys back. I'll catch your show. In fact, I'll try to catch it this Saturday.
Yeah. For sure. Let's just let Tess do her shout outs.
Merrick says shout out to your computer.
I have a shout out. I have a shout out. Last night was so fun. Last night, Minus, and Haya, and Lex, and Micah, and Doom Turkey, and Lox. We all played Cards Against Humanity for community game night. It was so fun.
It's on YouTube, yes?
Yes.
Okay, I'm watching that shit. I'm watching it. I can't wait to watch that.
It is hilarious.
It was fun.
It was so much fun. So that was my shout out. It was great.
It was really good, and it was fun to watch. All those guys, they were having a great time. Well,
I got so smashed. Like crazy.
That's the only way to play Cards Against Humanity.
My God.
If you're not inebriated, it's a boring game.
It's
got to be.
Fun.
That is why I'm drinking water tonight.
There we go. Well, we'd like to thank Jeremy W. at oakproduction.com for the song that you're hearing right now. I don't have anything else to announce. So on that note, we are out.
Mushroom stamp.